Hey, what's up guys? UrAvgWarGamer is back with another video for the Warships, and in this video I'm gonna be featuring the Tier 10 steel wheel cruiser, and that is the Bremen. A lot of players were interested in that ship, and I also got in one of my Santa crates, eventually given me a golden gift container, and obviously that's where it contains the Bremen. So I got it, and well, there's my review of this cruiser. And if you are thinking of buying this, well, I think it's a no-brainer. It's a ship that really makes me feel sad the way and the direction Wargaming has taken to justify these three ships. The Aki, the Bremen, the Hawaii, all of them are absolutely cracked. In one way or the other, Bremen is also pretty insane, Hawaii is also pretty insane for what it does, and Aki, I have already posted a review, it having insane bombers, really making it kinda not worth playing the Shikishima or the Yamato. Like, genuinely, when I have these insane bombs and the spotting and having Shikishima dispersion, Aki just makes so much sense to play over anything. And honestly, in the case of Bremen, it's kind of felt the same way. Like, the only reason why I would play Hindenburg is because of the 50mm pen, right? Yes, the Bremen does not have the best of the shell arcs, but you do have 16 guns, really good DPM, you have 4.6 seconds of reload time, as you can see here already, 4.7, and since you don't have that much pen, that's where the Hindenburg will only shine. Otherwise, with this absurd DPM, there is no reason to play it over Hindenburg. Yes, the Hindenburg does have, again, faster shell velocity, just like I said, but again, if you can make yourself comfortable with these shell arcs, which I would say you have to get used to them, because again, at longer ranges, they will definitely not gonna be feeling good at the start initially, but once you started to get feel of this cruiser over time, you soon realize that it's okay. I can still make these shells work at around 18-19 kilometers. And yes, the spotter plane is really cool thing, because you can easily lob these shells over the island, and that's give you a insane advantage. Like the Hindenburg having slightly I would say flatter shell arcs, but whereas in the case of Bremen, you do have, I would say, a bit floatier, and that's how you can utilize these shells around the islands as cover. Like they're just gonna be pretty much I would say effective at dealing damage on a battleship that is like behind an island or something. And with the spotter plane, it's pretty easy to aim. So I felt the Bremen to be very strong. And HE, as you can see already, if you're able to penetrate the 32mm plating like the Conqueror, there is no reason to play it over Hindenburg. You have 350-ish K HDPM and more than 700K APDPM. And honestly, the numbers are pretty powerful. Now, I kinda have to compare it with Smolensk, because you do have 16 guns, Smolensk also have 16 guns, and it's also very cracked. The Smolensk is still very powerful, but the Bremen has the big advantage, and that is that you have better pen. Smolensk doesn't. Like Smolensk can only penetrate like 21 or 22mm plating, right? Without IFHE. And without you have to apply IFHE on Bremen, you're still able to pen 38mm, which means that the battleships like the American Montana, all the American ships, they tend to have 38mm plating, and that's where it's gonna be pretty rough. Like seriously bad for an American BBs to take on Bremen. And here's another problem, like why a Bremen still manages to have 30mm side and deck, similar as Hindenburg, except that it only has 25mm of plating on the bow or stern. That's it. That's the only difference that I can see. Maybe there might be something related to the Citadel itself. Maybe the Hindenburg Citadel might be more tankier, but I don't see that it's gonna be a big of a deal, since you still have 30mm armor plating, right? And that's gonna help you a lot in tanking those battleship shells, where I find it to be really nice. Like seriously, the Bremen completely makes me think that this direction, if Wargaming is heading towards, in 2025 at the start of 2026 is not good. If we have these sort of ships right now in the game, right, which kinda makes me feel sad that why I would play Tech 3 ships, then imagine what's gonna happen at the end of 2026, at the end of 2027. Like, the power creep is definitely there. There is no doubt about that. And here's the special thing about it. Now, here I was very lucky and got overpens. But here's the very special thing. The Bremen also have 12 kilometer, very slow, but very, very usable tops. Like, these torpedoes, if any battleship is pushing, are going to be worth way more than the Hindenburg itself. So every single thing almost feels better, especially if you want to farm cruisers. Why I would play Hindenburg? Hindenburg has, I think, 8.7, 8.6 seconds of reload time with the reload mode, if I'm not wrong. But Bremen has like the double of that reload time and 16 of the shells. So instead of 12 shells, you throw 16 shells, you have double the, I would say, speed of reload time. And you pen still 30mm of plating, whereas Smolensk doesn't, right? So why I would play Hindenburg? That's the thing. And by the way, you are a special ship, which means that you have reduced service cost and you earn more credits per battle because of that. Again, if you apply a booster, right, that permanent economic booster, well, you will have same credit earning per battle, but because of the reduced post-battle service, that's where Bremen also going to take the lead. You will have less service, and that's why you will earn more credits per battle compared to the Hindenburg, even if it has the permanent booster strapped on it, compare it with Bremen. And that's why I just love the Bremen. It seems to be pretty insane, especially if there is anything that is broadsiding you, right? As you can see, there is nothing else in the game. The Conqueror and the Hildebrand, I tried to farm them, they just run away. I definitely farmed that poor Holland, and definitely have taken his HP down. So that's not where the fun part begins. The fun part begins where this new map, by the way, where you can see tons of islands, like insane amount of islands that you can utilize as a cover. It's kind of like heaven for cruisers, especially if you have spotting, because these islands are very easy to lob these shells, right? These Bremen shells are very easy and comfortable to lob. And the only thing that you really need is the spotting. If you don't get the spotting, then these islands are kind of a nightmare, because anything that just suddenly pushes you from the island, you can suddenly catch completely off guard. And that's where these islands can also be not so good, right? But again, you need spotting. If the spotting is there, which there will be in the game, you can farm crazy damage. Especially, I was talking about the AP, and you can see here there's a William d'Arrest. William d'Arrest has 32mm side plating, which means that you can penetrate the broadside, and man oh man, like every single salvo is 10k, bro. Every single salvo is just absolute insane damage. Like, if I started to get pens onto the upper belt, you will see that I can just easily smash him. Look at that, man. This is 10k in a single volley. And then what he realizes, that, well, I'm just getting farmed like crazy, so I just turn out, and that's why I have to switch to HE. And that's the thing. Bremen farms 32mm broadside plating with HE or AP just too effectively. Like, too effectively. Your DPM is completely absurd. Any cruiser that wants to 1 versus 1 against you, he will have the worst time. You out DPM them. If there's a Des Moines and you're in kiting position, you will absolutely gonna farm him. There's just no other way of saying it. You will outperform him with the DPM. With that absurd amount of shells, you are basically a German Smolensk. As simple as that. If you want to get the experience of German Smolensk, well, Bremen definitely, in its own unique flavor, gives you that experience. I absolutely love it, and you just need a single battleship, and you need that amazing island as cover, which I managed to find here. And well, all I need is spotting, which the San Vincent kind of doing for me. And you can see here that I'm with the HE shells just doing crazy damage. Like, even with the HE shells, I'm doing like 4k, 5k if I get a lot of shell hits. And if somehow the William d'Arrest managed to show broadside, then the AP is gonna do wonders. And I think in this case I might like switch to AP and might chunk him for like 6k, 7k, 10k every 4 to 5 seconds. Bro, this is no joke. This is pretty insane damage output. Like seriously, this just throwing shells upon shells. Like, and here's the fun part. If that's not enough, if these amount of shells that you're throwing per minute are not enough, consider having Gunther Lutens. Well, that really, takes it up the mile. Like, if you want to have that 7.5% main battery load buff in like 2-3 minutes into the game, well, I think Bremen, might be the fastest cruiser to get this. Like, it's gonna be super fast because you throw so many shells every 5 seconds. You have 140 shells within no time, and Gunther Lutens only need that much shells. And you can see here, I'm just farming all these battleships that are pushing. I'm just farming them because of some sort of weird spotting, which again is a blessing. Otherwise, sometimes if there is no spawning, these islands can be pretty much big trap, right? That's why this map is not loved by everyone. Some people like it, some people dislike it, but I mean that's the nature of this map, that you have to be kind of risky sometimes, but again you can be risk free if there is spotting. Once again, a spotting is great, and especially the Bremen absolutely loves it because you can use the islands as cover, you can open water, you can just kite away and just farm the shit out of any battleship that is pushing you. And if that's not enough, you can send 12km torpedoes. By the way, the firing angles of the torpedoes are also very nice. You have 6km hydro, normal heals, and well, the HP is also pretty much as similar as Hindenburg. Like, there is literally no downside. Like this, there's literally no downside except for the fact that you have like bad shell arcs, just like I said before. And honestly, you can be very comfortable with them. You can set tons of fires. You have 9% fire chance. I haven't fully built it with 10% fire chance. If I use the Demolition Expert, which I haven't used in my Gunther Lutens because I'm using it on many other cruisers, because I kind of make it like a journal build. I do not want to make specific build for Bremen, and that's why I didn't do that. That's why I haven't used the Demolition Expert. But if you use a Demo Expert, you get 10% fire chance, and I mean, this is huge, because you throw so many shells that 1% fire chance is significant, without a shadow of doubt. And you can see here, I burn him down to death, and look at that, I just get only 3 shell hits, 3 AP shell hits, and I just get 3k damage. 3k damage on just 3 shell hits. Imagine if you just able to land only 10 pens onto a broadside battleship. That is just insane. You will do so much damage in such a short time. I feel this ship is very strong. I would say overtuned in a way. If you know what you're doing, this ship is pretty overtuned. Especially if there are BBs that don't have overmatch, right? Like the Montana, like the Wisconsin, all the ships that have 406mm guns, 420mm guns. There are Kurfus that have 4.6s, there are Kurfus that have 420s, Conquerors, unless they switch to HE, obviously they can set fires, but if they don't switch to HE and they should switch to AP, well, you will also gonna bounce their shells. And yes, if we are talking about Vermont, Shikishima, Satsuma, incomparable, especially here, well, that's where you will take obviously a lot of damage. But again, the Hindenburg also suffers pretty much the same. Like, there is literally no downside playing the Bremen over the Hindenburg. Like, there is no reason for doing that. Like what is this wargaming? Come on. A downside would be nice, but honestly, it just does not have any downside. Really good DPM, man. Insane DPM, in fact. If you want to get that Russian Smolensk in a German flavor, well, the Bremen is actually the one that will do kinda this for you. And I love it. Honestly, if you haven't bought this ship is also pretty absurd. Absurd, like crazy, man. How the Gunther Lutens just make it even more ridiculous, man. You get almost 400k DPM with some adrenaline rush kicked in. I mean, that is insane. And with that penetration, 38mm HE pen, oh my goodness, that is... I mean, I haven't done much damage, but when I started to do damage, 200k is not a big deal. Like, 200k on Bremen is very easy. Very easy. Just super easy. It's kind of like, again, the same thing. you don't have the smoke like the Smolensk, but you have that range, you have that spotter plane, and that you have, then you have like fire chance, and then you just spam, and you basically out DPM everything. Cruisers can't fight you. Hildebrands will hurt. Latika and Hildebrands will get hurt pretty badly. They have super insane thick of a tumor of a cancer of a carrier deck, so they will just gonna hit your shells. Okay, William Dearest will gonna get hurt. Conqueror, Wisconsin, 38mm, like significant ships in the game, definitely gonna get covered. Like half of the ships, cruisers, battleships, they're gonna get covered. Half of them might not. Obviously, exceptions are the Napoli, the Petro. Again, you can throw so many shells, just like the Smolensk, right? So it's not like if there's a cruiser that have thick armor, then you throw enough shells onto the superstructure. But if that there's a battleship that is very vulnerable, then you just straight up get super pens, and yeah, that just makes it a superior Smolensk, if you ask me, without smoke, without a shadow of doubt, and the torpedoes are super plus. So just have one replay. I have played quite a lot of games, to be honest, but I just want to feature one. I think it's a straight up powerful ship, man. I mean, there's no other doubt about that. Like, if you do have the Hindenburg, and if you want to get like slightly better premium experience, I'm not gonna lie, it's a better experience than Hindenburg. There's just no other doubt in my mind about that ship. You just get the Bremen. It's just plain simple truth. I can just ramble about it days upon days upon days. It's just not gonna change the fact that this ship is kind of overtuned for what it does. So yeah, get the ship as fast as possible. I don't know when it will be coming back later on, but you have 39,000 steel or Santa crates, golden gift container specifically. Get this ship as fast as possible. It's an amazing ship. There's no doubt about that. Okay, thank you guys for watching, and as you can see, you found crazy damage. Okay, it's simple as that. If I find any cruiser, it's just gonna get chewed by this insane DPM. So yeah, super mains at tier 10. Thank you guys for watching. Take care, guys. I will go to the captain skills and upgrades before giving my final verdict. So there is the Bremen, and yeah, there is almost little to no difference in the armor. I checked out pretty much, and well, honestly, what I find out that Bremen has somehow a better, thicker armor belt, as you can see here. This one, compared to the Hindenburg, if I can show you, you can see that it has slightly thinner armor belt for some reason, which is 110mm. So I don't know how much difference does it make in tankiness of the Bremen if it has slightly better thickness, but overall the citadel is pretty much the same. Citadel is like the most important thing. As you can see, you can say there are some layers. You can see there are some layers of armor, which you can clearly see. That's gonna help Bremen also to some extent to tank some shells. Obviously, that's gonna be pretty good. And whereas in the case of Hindenburg, I would say, yeah, as you can see, there are some areas that Hindenburg has and the Bremen also have. Like, there are some subtle changes to the armor compared to the Hindenburg, but honestly it does not make big deal, because Hindenburg also have 30mm deck and side and 27mm bow and stern, whereas Bremen, well, like, this is the real definition. The only thing that I can see Bremen will suffer, and suffer a lot, are these platings. These platings on the turrets are very, very vulnerable. You tend to lose them quite often with some even HE shells, right? Even destroyer caliber guns can sometimes penetrate and just basically disable them for some time. Whereas the Hindenburg does have, I would say, tankier, a lot tankier, side plating. So that's I would say, one of the big difference. And obviously, that 25mm bow and stern of the Bremen is not that like a downside at all. Like, why? Why wargaming? Like, how you can make Bremen so good compared to the Hindenburg? It's not even funny. And your tops are so much better, man. Like, look at that, man. 12 kilometers, 16.5, 50 knots. Yes, they are slow, but they are usable. Hindenburg won't be able to do that unless they push too much. It's really difficult for that. So yeah, that's a huge difference for me. And obviously with that, Gunther Lutens kicked in. That reload time with 7.5% 7.5% main battery reload buff is just icing on the cake. Look at that. 349k HDPM, you get like almost 400k HDPM. So yikes, bro. It's definitely a bit overtuned. Let's just say it that way. So yeah, if you look at the captain skills, well, here's the thing. You can make two builds on the Bremen. Obviously, a standard build with full concealment, where you can just swap the heavy AP shells with the demolition expert, and also, if possible, go for the eye in the sky. That's gonna help a lot with the range most of the time. So that's pretty good. If you can use this, that's nice. Or you can also use the lighthouse build, where you have to just not use concealment expert and also use heavy HE and sap shells for that increased detection along with the top grade gunner. So yeah, this will improve the main battery load time for a fairly long time, because your detection will be absurd. If that is 13.1 kilometer with full concealment build, you can go around 18 kilometer without concealment with heavy HE and sap shells and not using that concealment system mod 1. Instead, you go for the steering gears mod 2, which gonna improve your rudder shift time crazy to speed juke shells even further and make it pretty absurd. The most absurd, like crazy damage farmer. Like with this whole lighthouse build, you're just gonna be taking everything to the new levels. But obviously you cannot disengage, so that is a disadvantage. But if you know what you're doing, lighthouse build can be extremely powerful. So I hope I covered everything. You can let me know in the comment. And by the way, funny enough, the entire defense is somehow decent as well. Whereas in the case of Hindenburg, well, I don't know. The medium range AA, the long range have 154, 343 respectively for medium range. In the case of Bremen, it's just somehow better. Again, long range is same, but you have short range and medium range pretty much, adding more value, right? And you can see here that the rating tells a whole lot of difference. 92 rating definitely means that it's gonna shoot down extra planes. As simple as that. This is closer to the American levels of anti-defense with 92 rating. If I just make it pretty simple in words, right? In the layman words, the Hindenburg has worse anti-air. As simple as that. Okay? So that's why I consider Bremen just straight up a better upgrade. It's almost like an upgrade to Hindenburg. I wish they would add the leg mod in the Bremen. That would be even more absurd. But I don't think so. Unless UrAvgWarGamer might get the idea from my video and they started to add the leg mods. Please, I pray, please never do that, UrAvgWarGamer. Never add leg mods for premium ships, please, for God's sake. That would be the last thing to see in this game, but it is possible. And I fear that they might happen. Until then, thank you guys. And let me know what you think about this ship in the comment. Did you have played that ship? If you do have, well, you can already smile and farm anything that pushes you. Happy farming, I would say, with this absurd DPM. So yeah, enjoy whatever you do in this game, with the money or with the ships, and take care of yourself and your family. Peace out.